Hello, welcome to the second edition of the P.I.L Masterclass Series. I'm so glad and excited to be back here with you. And thank you for connecting. Thank you for joining. I would love to get to meet you in the comment section. Let us know where you are connecting from. Let us know where you are joining from. And if you attended the first edition, I also love to know how helpful the class was for you or it has been for you. What are some of the positive feedbacks you have from that first edition? I mean, it's been absolutely mind blowing. Some of the testimonies we've been getting, it have been awesome. And that signifies the essence for which this masterclass exists. P.I.L is simply an acronym that stands for Purpose, Impact, Leadership, and Legacy. And the assignment of this P.I.L Masterclass is a leadership and transformational masterclass designed to help young leaders to develop their mindset, the clarity, and evolve into the kind of people that overcome, rise beyond their greater challenges, and achieve their dreams. So I'm so excited, and I can't wait for us to get into today's content because it's going to be awesome. In the first edition, we introduced the concept of clairvoyance, the power of imagining the future, and also use it as a means of setting the frame for the year. But this is where it gets more deeper and practical. So just relax, and over these 2 days, we are going to be discussing something that I believe is very, very pivotal to your personal growth and transformation. The theme of today's masterclass is the theme of this second edition is the theme of this second edition is the epoch of transformation, personal evolution for uncommon impact. And today we are going to be laying the foundation by discussing the topic, the psychology of personal evolution. And then tomorrow we are going to complete it by showing the process of personal evolution. All right. So let me know if you are excited in this moment in the comment section. Let me know if you're excited to about what is coming. I am excited. Okay. I learned very early in my journey that who you become is actually more important than what you do. Becoming is more important than doing. And that singular understanding inspired me and shaped my journey towards my own personal transformation. So instead of being obsessively focused on the externals, the outcomes, I realized that who I am is more powerful and drives every other thing that I will do. So I am deeply invested into becoming the kind of man, the kind of leader, the kind of individual that has the capacity to achieve, to be able to execute all that I have envisioned. And believe me, this quest drives everything that I do. And why am I sharing this? I think that this is where many young leaders have actually missed it in our generation. We have so many young people who are more obsessed with doing, often at the expense of becoming. They are more focused on the externals. They are more focused on the outward. They are driven by activity. Hyperactive generation. That is where we are living. A generation that values noise over depth. A generation that values results, in the sense that the clamor for results is all out, and I'm not against that. But the point is that we have missed the sense of purpose that accompanies the achievement of results. And what happens is that, so we don't question the outcomes, we don't question processes again, we just want to achieve results. And why that is good, the assignment of this class is to help us reframe our understanding, our mindset, to align, to ensure that we're aligned with our inner identity even as we pursue our goals and objectives. So people say that there are no shortcuts in life, but there are faster vehicles. And I agree with them. That is what we hear, and that is one of the reasons why our generation is so heavily driven with instant results. But then I ask, are you the kind of person that can board the faster vehicle? For example, if you don't have the capacity to board an airplane, to book an airplane ticket, do you have any business being at the airport? So you see, at the end of the day, it comes down to this truth, that who you are empowers what you do. And this is the foundation for understanding the psychology of personal evolution. You have to understand that more than what you do, more than your activities, who you are becoming daily, who you are becoming monthly, who you are becoming weekly, who you are becoming yearly. Are you evolving into the kind of individual that is capable of achieving your dreams? This is what sets those who make uncommon impact apart from random people. They are not driven by noise. They are not driven by the ephemerals. They are driven by substance. They are driven by depth and not just the shiny object syndrome as we have it. So if your goal and your assignment is to make lasting impact in your generation, you want to pay attention to what I'm saying. And when we're talking about personal evolution, it's not an abstract concept. It's not about trying to do more. It's not about trying harder, trying to achieve more. Why that is a subset of evolution, the emphasis of personal evolution is about your internal formation. So this is how I define personal evolution. Personal evolution is the intentional process of becoming, reshaping your identity, your beliefs, and your inner capacity to align with that ideal, preferred future version of yourself. So there is a kind of person that you would have imagined. There is a kind of person that you would have envisaged in your mind that you want to become sometime in the future. Now we are saying that for you to become that kind of person, you need to intentionally evolve. It is an intentional process of becoming. It is not a one-off something. It's not an event. It's a process. So you need to continually develop into that kind of person. And that is by reshaping your identity, by reshaping your beliefs, by aligning your inner capacity. So you see, I'm going to be making a lot of emphasis on capacity because that is what it actually requires. If you don't have the capacity to achieve your goals, then you see they will be far-fetched from you. You will only struggle, but you will not be able to realize them. This is very, very important. And talking about evolution, here is where it gets interesting. Every true evolution begins with vision. Vision is the catalyst for transformation. Vision is the catalyst for transformation. Vision is the foundation for becoming. There is no authentic, genuine transformation in life without a clearly defined vision. I say it this way: you cannot consistently move towards what you have not seen. When you don't have a destination in mind, any place can become a direction. So you see, we are trying to say that there must have been, or you need to develop an inner identity, a picture in your mind that keeps you focused and you are working towards becoming that kind of individual. So vision is at the center of all these conversations. Throughout history, everything that has been ever achieved across all human endeavors shows us that before they existed in the physical plane, they were first in the minds of people, and then they became reality. This is true for your own personal growth, that the future version of yourself that you are aspiring to be is already existing in your mind. Or you need to develop that picture. You need to have that mental picture of your future version, and then proactively and pragmatically work towards it. This is established on the principle or the law of second creation. Dr. Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, outlined that. Said everything is created twice. First in the mind and then outwardly. So you have to, and he says you have to begin with the end in mind. So you have to, the end here in the context is that person, that future version of yourself, or the kind of individual that has the capacity to achieve everything that you have envisioned. Are you following me? I hope that this is making sense to you. And I hope that so far you've been able to get the point that the foundation that I'm trying to establish. And you see, history have taught us that across all centuries and generations, most of the successful and most impactful people that you know or that we celebrate today, they emerged from some of the worst circumstances in life. They emerged through difficult situations. They endured perilous moments. But what was the secret to their successes? It is not more about their willpower to rise. It is no more about maybe what they did or what they didn't do. There is one common theme that has unified every successful individual, both in time and in history. And that is because they learned how to harness the power of their minds. So you see, your mind plays a very crucial role. And many people don't realize this. Many people don't know the power of their mind. So they ignore the power of their mind in shaping their own identity, in writing their own stories, in developing themselves, in evolving into the superior versions of themselves. You see, to ignore the power of your mind is to undermine your own potential for growth. Your mind is powerful. Your mind is infinitely, incredibly powerful. You have to believe that. And this is the beautiful thing. God has given every one of us the minds of our own. He has given us that ability to imagine. He has given us that ability to think. He has given us that ability to shape our lives. So you are not a creature of your circumstances. You are not a creature of your past. You are not a creature of your environment. You are a victor. You have what it takes to write your own story. And that is why we're having this class today. I want to share a story with you. The story that I read this in Dr. Miles Monroe's book, The Lion Bred Among Sheep. And he used it to convey the leadership potential and also the inherent potential of every human being. So, there is this lion cub that was left vulnerable in the open field. And one of the days, a farmer came into the forest and saw that cub at the mercy of the harsh weather conditions of the environment. So he watched from afar to see if the mother of the lion cub would come around. And after some time, he noticed that that lion was actually helpless and vulnerable. So he went and carried the lion cub and took it home with him and placed it among his flock of sheep. So this cub began to grow in that environment, began to eat the food that the sheep eat, began to drink the water that the sheep drink, began to learn their behaviors. He just grew up, his entire life in that farmland. And after some time, a significant number of time passed. One of the days, the farmer took the entire flock of sheep together with that lion cub and to a stream to drink water. So while they were there drinking water, a real lion emerged from the bush. And at the first sight of the lion, the entire sheep, they all scampered for safety, including the lion cub. And that was a shock to the lion now, because he was seeing his own kind, he was seeing his own nature, he was seeing his own tribe. Why is it running away? So the summary of it is that it confronted that big lion, now confronted the lion cub that grew all his life from that farmland. And at first, that cub wouldn't accept the reality or its identity, wouldn't accept that it is a lion. So that's first scenario passed. At another time, now this lion, the lion cub by itself, came to the stream again to drink water. And while he was drinking, it saw its own reflection in the stream. And for no reason, started running again. So the sheep that were around were wondering, there is no actual lion in sight. Why are you running away? It had seen its own reflection, and it was scared because it remembered the previous encounter with the lion. Are you getting the point I'm trying to make? The psychology of this lion had been so badly tempered with that it didn't realize its own identity. And this is where I'm driving with this story. This is how many people live their lives. This is how many people have been shaped. This is how many people have been conditioned. The inherent potential that is within us, the inherent potential that is within you, that leadership potential, that infinite potential, some of them have been suppressed. And most of us do not even realize that. So the summary of the story is that the lion eventually was liberated after several attempts and several visits from that bigger lion. It eventually embraced its own identity. It embraced its own uniqueness. It saw himself for whom, for whom he is. And then discarded the fear, discarded the old beliefs about, and, of course, left that environment, went into the jungle, never to return again. And this sets the foundation for what we want to discuss about the psychology of personal evolution. Many people are not limited by potential. Some are not even limited by their circumstances. They are constrained by what I have described as false identities. False identities. They are constrained by the paradigms, the philosophies, and the programmings that shaped their life. And the sad thing is that most are not even self-aware. Most are just living blindly. Most are just going anyhow and hoping that life somehow would be kind to them. The only way that life can be kind to you is when you wake up to the reality of this truth, that before you had the ability to make conscious decisions, before you had the ability to choose independently, before you had the ability to make your own decisions, your choices, choose your beliefs, you were conditioned. You were shaped by your initial exposures. This is powerful. Very, very powerful. And I want to take it again. Before you had the ability to choose your own belief systems, to make conscious decisions by yourself, you were shaped by your initial environments. You were shaped by your initial exposures, and you were shaped by your initial experiences. Now, you see, the thing is, whether those experiences were good or bad, that's not the point. The point I'm making is that you did not contribute to that formation. From your childhood to relatively your adulthood, when you had the power now to begin to make choices, but most especially at your childhood stage, you did not contribute to who you became. You did not contribute to the paradigms that you absorbed. You did not contribute to the philosophies, the belief systems that you came to believe. So what were some of these forces that actually shaped your experiences? First of all, your family. You see, nobody chooses the family he's born into. I didn't get to choose where I will be born into. I didn't get to choose the state I would come from. I didn't get to choose my background. It was just predetermined by the Creator for every one of us. But now, when we were born into the prevailing circumstances within that family, whether good or bad. And I'm particularly talking to those who did not have the privileges, as I keep on saying. Those who can resonate with what I'm saying, those who come from relatively disadvantaged backgrounds. So you see that those initial programmings, those initial exposures and formations were not actually supportive. They did not encourage the leader in you. They did not awaken the potential in you. Instead, it was if you live in that kind of environment that ruled by fear, you will see that you grow up shrinking, not wanting to be seen. I mean, I wish I could just go deeper and deeper, but I believe that you are getting the nucleus of what I'm saying. So that initial exposure, whether it is now from your family or your immediate environment, that environment where you grew up, it cultured you. It's called culture for a reason. A people's way of life, a people's way of thinking, a people's way of behavior, a people's way of speaking, a people's way of believing. All of these things actually make up the inner psyche of a man, of anybody. And if they were wrong, that is what shaped your identity. What about religion? Most of us come from religious backgrounds that did not support the empowerment and transformation of the mind. I'm talking now from that spiritual perspective. You see, that's one conversation we don't like to have as believers. But the truth is that some believers, or maybe even most believers, they live under optimized lives. They live underdeveloped lives because somehow religion, instead of being a liberator, instead of being an empowerment, actually became an inhibitor. As a result of the exposure to the teachings, as a result of the exposure to the doctrines, the indoctrinations rather, that shaped our mindsets. And now you grow up and you are struggling to perform at that optimal level. The school you attended, your peers, they all contributed in one way or the other to significantly forming your initial identity. And this is what I describe as false identities, because at the end of the day, if you see that you are not doing more or being more or achieving more as you should achieve, if you see that you are not operating at the standard that you think that you are capable of, then maybe you are dealing with this problem of false identity, where you were shaped by those limitations in the past. The assignment of this class is to evoke that self-awareness, to tell ourselves the truth. This is something that I constantly do, and this is a journey I've been on. So I'm not telling you something that I have not practiced or something that I have not discovered. As a matter of fact, you see, this is my book, Paternal Influences. Said discover secrets for positive impact, lasting relevance, and shaping a transgenerational legacy. Most of the things I am teaching you now have been condensed into this book, and that's because it was a revelation for me. It has been a journey for me. I came to realize that I've been sabotaging myself as a result of the negative impacts or the negative influences that had dictated my lives. So I had to intentionally sit down and identify them and then begin to deconstruct them. So I know what I'm talking about. It's not theory. If you can intentionally understand your past, study your past, your roots, your origin, the influences that shaped you, you would begin to see the loopholes that formed or aggregated to create that sense of false identity. This is not to glorify the past in any way. I believe that the past does not determine your future. But you see, it shapes, it contributes to who you can become or who you will not become. Understanding the past is simply about studying the causes, the origins of those initial influences that shaped your life, especially if they were negative influences. That gives you now the foundation to begin the process of evolution. This is why I'm emphasizing that. And when you want to understand the past, you have to understand it through the lens of your paradigms, through the lens of your philosophy, and through the lens of your programming. Your paradigm is the mental lenses through which you see the world. You see, every one of us are wearing colored lenses. There is a way that we see life. There is a way that we see the world. There is a way that we see others. It shapes our perspectives. It's usually said this way: where you are sitting or standing influences what you can see or how you can see. And that is true about life. You are as empowered as your paradigm or limited as your paradigm. And most of us, we picked up some of these negative paradigms while we were growing up. And they inhibited or they suppressed our potential, that capacity, giving that false identity. So a point comes, and this is why we're having this conversation. A point comes where you must radically, stubbornly, and intentionally audit all those negative paradigms, deconstruct them, and begin to form new paradigms. So if you have been operating with inherited paradigms, this is what it causes. It's going to continue to sabotage you. Now, I'm not saying that every exposure or all the paradigms that you inherited are wrong. I hope you're understanding my context. But that largely, all those negative influences that shaped us have a way of hindering us if we do not intentionally change them. So your paradigm is the first set of your initial exposure you need to understand. The second one is your philosophy. Your philosophy is simply your belief systems. So a collection of your belief systems. What do you believe about life? What do you believe about yourself? And this is where it gets interesting. You see, that when you have been conditioned poorly, when you have been trained over time to see yourself as less, just like that vulnerable lion cub, to see yourself as incapacitated, to see yourself as fearful, to see yourself as a sheep, whereas you are a lion. See, it has a way of altering your belief. When you suddenly believe that it can't be you, or you can't even do big things in life, or you can't achieve certain goals, you just believe that maybe some things are just meant for some people. You see that there is an internally deeply wired philosophy that is governing that
kind of behavior. So your philosophy simply has to be changed. Your philosophy, you need to get the right philosophy if you are going to live right. Jim Rohn put it this way: if you change your philosophy, you will change your life. So it is important what you believe in life. It is important what you believe about yourself. It is important what you believe that you can do. It first starts here, is the mind. When you believe that you can become, then you begin to evolve into that kind of personality. That lion had to be reminded again and again until he awoke to the reality of his enormous power, enormous potential, incredible ability. And I hope that this is what is happening to somebody's mind as you are seeing this video. You are more than this. You are better than where you are. You are stronger than this. You are not defined by your circumstances. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not a creature of circumstances. You are not a victim of fate. I believe deeply that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what has happened or even happening to you right now, how ugly it is, with all passion and appeal to you, I want to let you know that you can evolve into your true identity. This is the psychology of personal evolution. And you see, when your paradigms and your philosophy combine and you are repeatedly exposed to them, this is now the science of programming. Repeated exposure to a particular environment, repeated exposure to a particular experience, repeated exposure to a particular scenario. When you are repeatedly exposed to a particular thing, it reinforces belief in your mind. This is what creates stronghold, and this is how programs are developed in our minds subconsciously, and they begin to rule our minds subconsciously. So you see why that initial childhood exposure holds a deep sway over the minds of many people. It is because you did not, first of all, you did not have the ability to differentiate, and over time you were repeatedly exposed to a particular culture, you were repeatedly exposed to a particular behavior, a particular belief system, and somehow you came to believe that as true. You came to think that that is your own inherent belief. I'm challenging you to question some of the things that you have been programmed with over the past. And this is where it gets intentional, because you cannot evolve into your superior version. You cannot evolve into your ideal version, into your future version, into the best version of yourself without reprogramming your mind. And you cannot reprogram your mind if you don't understand your previous programming. I want to share with you quickly as I begin to bring this class to a close. This is the first day of the masterclass, and tomorrow we are going to focus more on the process now of evolution. So I'm just laying the framework for you, and then tomorrow I'll break it deep down how you can actually move from that point of negativity to positivity. Are you understanding what I'm saying? You see, every true change begins with an awareness, an awakening. And this is what I describe as the epoch of transformation. A time comes in your life where you are suddenly made aware of your potential. You are made aware of your power. You are made aware of your ability. The time where you become dissatisfied with prevalent circumstances and situations. And it varies for different persons. And another thing I've discovered is that sometimes these seasons, these epochs of transformation do not come with loud moments. They do not come in loud moments. Sometimes they come subtly through unexpected situations, unexpected people, unexpected circumstances, and you just have to discern it. So awareness is the awakening phase where you are made aware. Just as I'm speaking to you, something can be ignited in your heart today to realize that you are more than you currently may be manifesting, that there is more to your life, that there is more to your existence beyond your circumstances. Let me share a story with you. I've had several moments where I can point back to this whole journey of transformation. But one of my favorite moments where it all began for me was in my 300 level in my university. And it happened in a conference, in an academic seminar. So we had traveled to a particular state in Nigeria here for a conference through my fellowship then on campus. So, in one of the sessions, the man that was speaking, he's a lecturer in one of the universities in Nigeria. He was sharing his story, talking about his own story of personal evolution. In secondary school, he struggled a lot. He was what you would call a dullard, a dunce. He was not academically brilliant, and it was a serious challenge both for himself and everyone that cared about him. And this was his story for an awful number of years. But somehow he managed to enter the university, and I think that's where the whole game changed for him. Mercy found him, and the point is that he evolved from that state to become one of the senior lecturers in one of the universities today. Do you know the beautiful thing? This man does not know me, but the impact he has had in my life is indelible, is forever. As he was sharing his story, something was happening to me in my mind right there in that room. You see, before I attended that conference, and that was happening at the time I just recently gave my life to Jesus Christ. So before I attended that conference, I was largely an average student. Now you see it, I'm not average with every sense of humility. I'm someone you would consider brilliant growing up from childhood, that intelligent kind of person. But somehow, my results, my academic grades were not reflecting that. In my first 2 years, I was just a C student. But as the man was speaking, a vision, a passion was developing within me. And I began to awaken to that understanding that I can actually be an excellent student. I'm much more as a Christian. This is how my story began. This is how my journey began. So I left that room that day with what I described as becoming are you hearing the word becoming a financially, academically, spiritually towering Christian? It has evolved over time into a concise framework now. But that's where it all started for me. I was awakened from within. I had this awareness of my inherent ability, now not just as a human being, but as a child of God. And I became hungry. Lord, I need a change in my life. I want to be better. I want to inspire lives at the zenith, at the apex of Christian excellence. And that is the entire pursuit of my life. Summary of it is that I left there and went back and became serious with my academics. From my 300 level until I graduated, I sporadically, spontaneously went from that C grade to becoming an A student. What changed within me? Someone came and by sharing his story, ignited something within my mind, awakened that inherent possibility that is within me. So you see, the point I'm making is that you cannot solve a problem you are not aware of. Awareness is the foundation of every true and lasting change. Once you become aware of how you were formed, you regain the power to decide who you will be. Once you gain that awareness of how you were formed, you regain the power that was stolen from you. And this is not to apportion blame to anyone, but you regain that power to choose who you will be. paradigm shifts, a change in your identity, reshaping your identity, reshaping your belief systems, and aligning your inner capacity to align with that preferred future version of yourself. It begins with this awareness. So, and I hope that somehow, just by having this interaction with you over and over again, something happens to your mind. You realize the potential you have as a young leader to create change in your world, to inspire positive, to make a difference in the lives of others, to inspire others towards meaningful existence and more. You are here to make an uncommon impact. You are here to make a difference. You are here to leave a lasting legacy. And it begins with taking now that decision. That brings us to the second step. You see, first you are made aware. Then you make that intentional decision to change your life. Because you realize that when you change your life, it's like a ripple effect. When you throw a stone into a pool of water, it creates ripples. So that is the impact of your own decision to change your life. We are not just here for ourselves. I believe that we are here to contribute meaningfully to a cause that is greater than every one of us. As Marianne Wilson put it, say when you shine your light, you unconsciously give others the permission to shine their lives. But when you shrink, imagine the destinies and the lives that may not find expression just because you refuse to take that decision to be and to inspire a positive difference in your world. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. So, first you are made aware and then you take the decision. And what does it mean to decide? You see, it is first deciding to unlearn the negative paradigms that shaped you. Deciding to understand, to discover those negative paradigms, those negative philosophies, and intentionally replacing them. This is just the science of reprogramming your mind, retraining your mind. And it takes intentionality. That is why you must decide. It takes intentionality. Just like I did so many years ago. When I heard that man's story, I realized that I could be more. In terms of now, my academics, and as a Christian, I saw the excellence of the Christian life, and I chose to embrace it. And that is a quest that I'm still on today. So it's a decision. And that decision drives you into meaningful responsibility. So decision is not just a mere wish. It's not a mere wish. It's not just verbalizing it. It's intentional. You decide the kind of person who you want to be. Decide the kind of life you want to live. Decide now the kind of things you want to do. What is your vision about your life? What is your vision about the kind of man, the kind of woman you want to become in the next 10, 20 years? Where do you see yourself? Where are you going? You see, you must decide that intentionally. I wish I have what I call my vision book. I will show you. Before I began to learn some of these sciences and philosophies that I'm sharing with you, when I came back from that retreat, one of the things I did was I went and bought a fresh book and I sat down and began to script my life on paper. And by the grace of God, I'm actively living in alignment with all of those things I did almost 6 years ago. So decision is not a mere wish. Decision drives you to take responsibility, which is the third component, the third step towards true personal evolution. The first is awareness, being made aware of those initial constraints and then working to change them. And then secondly, deciding to change them, deciding who you want to be, deciding where you want to go, deciding the kind of life you want to live, and then taking responsibility. This is the bane of leadership. Leadership is responsibility. Leadership is responsibility. And it starts by being intentional with your own life, taking responsibility for your own life and for your own change. Here is what happens. John Quincy Adams put it this way: if your actions inspire others to dream more, to do more, to be more, you are a leader. And he's simply trying to say, when you take the responsibility to change your life, when you take the responsibility to do the things you ought to do, naturally you find yourself inspiring others towards the same cause. So are you going to rise to that occasion of leading yourself meaningfully so that you can lead others? Or are you going to keep shrinking? Don't be that lion that was bred among the sheep. They put it this way: a pack of sheep, a flock of sheep led by a lion will defeat an army of lions, a head of lions led by a sheep. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be the kind of leader that is inspiring positive change, helping others to see beyond their limitations, beyond their doubts, beyond their circumstances? Or do you want to be the kind of leader that inhibits the potential of others? It's your responsibility, first of all, by starting to change your own life, shaping your own life, taking responsibility for your own mental transformation, for your own evolution. That way, you're able to inspire others into the same. And then, the last but not the least, you have to take meaningful action. This is where many people fail the test. Some persons already know some of their challenges. Some persons know all the problems that they have in this world. They are very aware, self-aware. They can sit you down and describe all their life problems, respectfully speaking. Tell you about their challenges, tell you about their circumstances, even apportion blames to everyone but themselves. You get that kind of thing. Have you met those kind of people? They can almost give you the detail and tell you why things are not working, and they will be right in the sense of it. But then, why are you not doing anything to change it? Why are you not doing anything to rewrite that narrative? Why are you not doing anything to change that circumstance? That is where many persons live, defeated, because somehow they have believed that they are creatures of their circumstances, that they are limited by their own experiences and exposures. Do you get that kind of thing? So, more than knowing this, the assignment of this class and this particular session is not to inspire more self-awareness, self-knowledge. It's not just to give you information, but to leave you with the practical tool that will help you to begin that intentional journey. You need to start. You need to start changing your mindset. You need to start changing your belief system. You need to start changing relationships, associations, whatever it is that is inhibiting you, whatever it is that is limiting you. You need to take that responsibility and begin to take meaningful action. Leadership is not passive. Leadership is active. And this is the crux of transformational leadership. Transformational leadership, in the real sense of it, is simply moving from the lower states, the lower versions of yourself, the unappealing versions of yourself, the defeated versions of yourself, the struggling versions of yourself, to the empowered version of yourself. You see, it's a journey, it's a movement, and that is why you need to take action imperatively. So when you learn and learn and learn and you are not doing, you see, it becomes, your objective becomes defeated. So this is the summary of everything. The power to change your life is in your hands. The power to write your story is in your hand. The power to shape your future is in your hands. A lot of us are waiting for permission. I wish I have the liberty of sharing some stories with you. But no, you don't need any of those permissions. You don't need the validations of men. Yes, it is good for people to encourage you. It is good for people to motivate you. It's good for people to inspire you. But the greatest motivation you can ever give yourself is the one you generate within. When you wake up to the inherent and incredible power that is inside of you, there is a lot of potential that God has deposited within you. What are you doing to actively translate those potential into purposeful expressions in the world? You are not just here to exist. You are not just here to be another face in the crowd. You are here to make a meaningful difference. So there is a kind of person you must become to do the kind of things you must do. If you have dreamt big, or if you are dreaming big, then you must keep evolving into that bigger version of yourself, because that is the only way you'll be able to make tangible and lasting impact. Remember this again. Personal evolution is the intentional process of becoming. So I want you to leave this class today with that renewed understanding to go and begin to work actively on who you are becoming. Why you keep doing the things that you are doing, why you keep pursuing your goals, let the greater goal be evolving into the person that is capable of achieving all those stated goals and desires. All right, thank you so much for coming, attending today's session. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that the class was very, very impactful for you. So I will see you tomorrow, where we go deeper in this conversation. Bye.